So I'll be honest, I was wrong about Demon Lord 2099. I truly thought there was no way Marcus dies. And even in hindsight, I don't think the show gives the impression it will. Yes, on one hand, someone had to be given to the furnace. I assume that. I still thought our girl had more of a death flag than any. But honestly, hell, even the people saying, what if the hero? I said, sure, maybe. But like I said, Marcus felt like such a good villain that I just didn't see, like, if you eliminated him here, what would be the next villain? And most importantly, like, where would the story go? Now, I'm not saying I've never seen stories continue to introduce new threats, and this is a very futuristic world, plenty of opportunities. But I really didn't think someone would get burned. I knew he wasn't going to solve the furnace issue this episode. I mean, he might have 1 million followers on Twitch, but that ain't going to be enough to completely rewrite the laws of this world. He'd probably need the whole global phenomenon to be focusing in on him. But damn, the idea of hacking into essentially all networks and playing his stream, getting more eyes on him so he could unleash his true form and do one of the most disrespectful deaths I have ever seen. It's bad enough to be in big Bone Daddy dragon form and stab a fool. It's another to pick him up while still skewered like a kebab and using a singular finger push him slowly off the blade into a furnace to be fuel to fuel the city. I was wrong. I really didn't think they were going to kill Marcus, but let's see where they go from here. Of course, I have full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my mind break in real time over there exclusively. So, the fight started off okay. Like, production-wise, it was okay at the very beginning. It wasn't as well produced as the Heroes fight from last week, but they quickly made up for it, especially once they get into some more intensity. So, this is actually one of the rare cases, I'll say this. Usually when there's either some 3D or maybe the design's just super big and complex, close-ups generally look better than wide shots, but it's the opposite for this. Anytime they had the camera at a medium or far away distance, seeing the full body of his demonic form looked cool as shit. The times I thought it was a little mediocre, a little questionable was when it was right up close and you just had the most basic mouth flap moving up and down. But in general, I do think they worked pretty well given the complexity of the situation. Lots of lights in the background, pretty complex backdrop, crazy character design. And honestly, maybe I just haven't been watching the right Demon Lord anime, but this is the first time I can recall a Demon Lord casually transforming into giant bone dragon daddy and making them call you daddy, because I don't recall that. I've seen demon forms, but it's more so like just more intimidating armor. The dude might be a Chuny edgelord, but hey, he's got the power to back it. So the thing I like about Velto as a Demon Lord is that he legitimately does give ways out. Like, he values strength, he values power. He's not an idiot. He recognizes Marcus is strong, and most importantly, Marcus has quite the connection to technology. I mean, it's valuable to have someone like that on your side. And if there's no real threat of him being strong enough to destroy you, having him on your side still makes sense. Maybe you just got to put a slave collar on him. I don't know what type of magic they'll use, but it's worth, saying, hey bro, you had your fun, it's time to come home to daddy. He gives him not one, but 2 options in this episode to come back, saying, hey bro. And you really could tell after he got skewered, and he was still talking a little shit, that he was probably desperately hoping there was going to be a third opportunity, like, hey, I'm just kidding, come on, you sure you don't want to come home? Because I think at that point, he probably still would have said no, but there would have been more of a chance of him saying yes. But man, up until this episode, Marcus has felt more like a Demon Lord than Velto has. And I've said that since the start of the show, that Marcus is a prick, he's a D-bag, but he feels like an evil guy, and you're like, okay, yeah, like that guy could be Demon Lord. He's got the power, he's got the connections and the authority in this world. I could see how he could be a Demon Lord. Our guy's just a memer. Like, yeah, he's strong. Well, it's debatable if he's strong sometimes, depending on how much you're worshipping him. But he doesn't have that evil aura. But now we can safely say, seeing what he was able to do with his true form, apparently up to this point, only the hero Graham has ever seen it. Is he nicer than a lot of Demon Lords? Yes, but is he an evil menace when it counts? Oh, absolutely. Like, that dude's a walking apocalypse, and it was badass. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some people, because I have seen it, right? Like, I've seen it for a couple of weeks now. People are like, oh, we'll feed Marcus to the furnace. But I know I wasn't alone, because they really were making you worried about Machina, of course. Like, that was a big, like, they had the chance to do the most messed up thing and remove her from the show. But at the same time, it just, I don't know, it just, in a weird way, the most predictable outcome was the least likely, in my opinion. Which, the most predictable outcome would be killing Marcus to fuel the furnace. That's what a lot of these shows would do. But the way they directed everything made me think it was, honestly, I thought he was as safe as Velto walking into this episode. Meaning, it becomes, in my mind, the least likely thing to happen. And despite for most shows and authors and stories like this, it being the, like, you probably see it coming, the way they handled it, the most predictable thing became the least predictable, and because of that, the predictable outcome became really well done. It's a very interesting circle in how they made it all work, but I really respect what they were able to do because, I mean, sure, there's going to be those people who say, of course I saw it coming, and great. But I've seen enough shows that the way they were going about this, like, there was enough signs that there was going to be an emotional sacrifice more than douchebag got killed. And because of that, I enjoy his death way more than I think I would have if I just assumed he was going to die this whole time. And especially because I think this is what saved it too. He gave him an out 2 times in this episode. So even though I was getting more progressively like, oh, he's definitely not making it, every time he's like, hey, here's my hand, take it, let's do this. I'm like, oh, like, he ain't gonna die. Like, they really got me to believe he wasn't gonna die. And I had a blast watching this episode. I mean, I was laughing, I was hyped, I felt giddy, man. It was just such a different episode than I was expecting. And the fact that he stabs him, picks him up, and it's not just, like, the only way it would have been more disrespectful is if he was pushing him off the blade, he got stuck, and then he had to jiggle the knife. Could you imagine if Marcus was limp, like, just, he was like ragdoll physics? That's the only way it would have been more disrespectful. So, yeah, this could have been a season finale if you ask me. He even admits his love to Machina, which felt more than just familial love. Like, that felt like a, I love you, I love you. The credits play. I think we're chilling in that man who died apartment, because we're living high and luxurious now. Best episode, hands down, and seems like we're only getting started. Let's see where season 2, aka episode 8, is gonna go from here, because that's what it feels like. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below, especially if you're like me. If you didn't think Marcus was gonna die, did that catch you by surprise? Because, you know, it caught me by surprise. Thoughts down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Daniel Costel, SMA Jadolf, Connor Brown, GR Vallis, Pav, and we also have Maury. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.